Welcome to Dee-wy Academy. In today's lesson, we'll be learning how to solve quadratic equation with completing the square method. Let's take the first example. The question says, solve x raised to power 2 plus 6x plus 5 is equal to 0. The first thing we will do, we'll take a look at the value of x squared, making sure that the coefficient is 1. And in this question, the coefficient of x squared is 1. The next thing, we look at the constant, which is the value that is independent of x. And the value here that is independent of x is 5. So we move 5 to the other side of the equation where we have 0, like subtracting 5 from both sides. When you subtract 5 from both sides, we will have x raised to power 2 plus 6x is equal to minus 5. When you look at it, when you subtract 5 from this side, you will have 5 minus 5, which is 0. And at this side, we have 0 minus 5, which is still minus 5. The next thing is that you square half of the coefficient of x and add it to both sides. If you look at the question, the coefficient of x is 6, and half of it means 6 divided by 2. And it says you square, it means 6 divided by 2 all square, which is 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. And when you square it, you will have 3 raised to power 2. And this 3 raised to power 2, you add it to both sides. This is the first side where you have x squared plus 6x, and this is the other side of the equation. You have minus 5. So when you add it to both sides, you now have x squared plus 6x plus 3 raised to power 2 is equal to, when you add it to this side, you have minus 5 plus 3 raised to power 2. Our intention of adding the square of half of the coefficient of x to both sides is to make this side of the equation a perfect square. Now, for you to make it a perfect square, you pick these values that are square at this side of the equation. That is x squared and plus 3 squared. You pick these two values and square them. When you square them, you have open bracket x plus 3 close bracket all square is equal to minus 5 plus 9, and you have your 9 from 3 raised to power 2. 3 raised to power 2 means 3 times 3. 3 times 3 gives 9. When you look at this side of the equation, we have successfully made x squared plus 6x plus 3 square a perfect square, where we have open bracket x plus 3 close bracket all square. When you look at these two sides, when you look at it, if we clear the brackets here, we will have the same value as x squared plus 6x plus 3 raised to power 2. Let's take a look at it. Let's clear the brackets. We have open bracket x plus 3 close bracket raised to power 2. We want to clear the bracket. We will have to, it means we multiply this times itself, which is raised to power 2. It means x squared plus 3 times x squared plus 3. If we have to clear this bracket, you now say x times x, you have x squared. Now x times 3, you have 3x. We come to this value, which is 3 times x, we have 3x. And the last one is 3 times 3, which is 9. Then we have our x squared. 3x plus 3x, we have 6x and plus 9. Our 9 can be raised to the power of 2, which is 3 raised to the power 2. You can see that our x plus 3 all square is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 3 raised to the power 2. If we solve this side, which is minus 5 plus 9, will give us 4. Minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus 5 plus 9 gives 4. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. 4 minus When you take the square root of both sides, you have x plus 3 is equal to plus or minus square root of 4. We are having plus or minus here because the square root of 4 means two same values that when you multiply it together, you have 4, which is 2. When you multiply 2 times 2, you have 4. Then the plus or minus there means that if it is positive 2, which is 2 times 2, you have 4. Or if it is the negative 2, which is minus 2 times minus 2, we still give you the same value 4. So that is why we have plus or minus whenever we are taking square root of a value. So at this point we have plus or minus square root of 4. Our intention is to make x the subject of formula. To make it the subject of formula, we subtract 3 from both sides. We are having positive 3 here. We'll find a way to make this positive 3 0. The only way we can make it 0 is to subtract 3. And when you subtract 3 from this side, we'll also have to subtract 3 from this side so that the equation will remain balanced. Now when you subtract 3 from this side, we have 0. We'll be left with x, and x will be equal to minus 3 plus or minus square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So we now have x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus 2. Therefore, x is equal to minus 3 plus 2, or x is equal to minus 3 minus 2. This plus 2 here is the positive value here of 2, and the minus 2 here is the negative value of 2 from here. When you solve this one, minus 3 plus 2, you have x is equal to minus 1. Or if you solve this side, x is equal to minus 3 minus 2, we have x is equal to minus 5. It means that the two values that satisfy this equation is minus 1, minus 5. We can check if it is true or if our answer is correct. Let's check. The first one, we have x is equal to minus 1, and the equation is x squared plus 6x plus 5 is equal to 0. It means that if you find the value of x and you substitute it in place of x, you will have 0. When x is equal to minus 1, let's substitute it where we have x in the equation. We have x here, and we substitute it with minus 1, which is minus 1 raised to power 2. We have 6x here. We substitute x with minus 1. We have 6 into minus 1 plus 5. It's expected that if we solve this, we should have 0. Let's solve. Minus 1 raised to power 2 is 1. Here, 6 times minus 1 is minus 6. We now have plus 5. When you sum this, 1 minus 6 is minus 5. Minus 5 plus 5 will give us 0. It means that this value of x, which is minus 1, satisfies the equation. That means that our value minus 1 is correct. Let's check using the second value, which is x is equal to minus 5. And the equation is x squared plus 6x plus 5 is equal to 0. To check, we substitute this value of x, which is minus 5, into the equation. When you substitute it, we have minus 5 raised to power 2, which is this x raised to power 2, plus 6 times x, which is 6 times minus 5, plus 5. Minus 5 raised to power 2 gives 25, which means minus 5 times minus 5 will give us 25. 6 times minus 5 will give minus 30, and we have our plus 5. 25 minus 30 is minus 5, and minus 5 plus 5 is equal to 0. This also shows that our minus 5 satisfies the equation, which means that the value x is equal to minus 5 is correct. Let's go to the next example. The second example is solve 2x squared plus 8x minus 10 is equal to 0. This is another quadratic equation that we want to solve it by using completing the square method. We take the constant term, which is the value that is independent of x, to the other side of the equation. And the value that is independent of x, is minus 10. If we are taking this minus 10 to the other side of this equation, we have 2x squared plus 8x is equal to 10. It's like we are adding 10 to both sides of the equation. Like if you add 10 here, minus 10 plus 10 will give you 0 at this side of the equation. And 0 plus 10 will give us 10. That is when coefficient of x squared is not equal to 1. We divide all terms by the coefficient of x squared to make the coefficient of x squared equal to 1. When you divide all terms by 2, we have x squared plus 4x is equal to 5. Because if you divide 2x squared, when you divide it by 2, you have x squared. When you divide 8x by 2, we have 4x. When you divide 10 by 2, we have 5. And we are dividing all terms by 2 because the coefficient of x squared is 2. If the coefficient of x squared is 5, you also divide all terms by 5. Whatever value the coefficient of x squared is, you divide all the terms by that value. Here the coefficient of x squared is 2. That is why we are dividing all terms by 2. At this point, to make this side a perfect square, we add the square of half of the coefficient of x to both sides. This is x and the coefficient of x is 4. So you now divide it by 2. That is half of the coefficient of x. When you divide it by 2, that is 4 divided by 2, we have 2. And it says the square of half of the coefficient of x, which means 2 square. That is 2 raised to power 2. So when you add this to both sides, we have x squared plus 4x plus 2 raised to power 2 is equal to 5 plus 2 raised to power 2. If you see this with the previous one, you can see that we have x squared plus 4. That is the x squared plus 4 here. We now add this to both sides. So this is the equation, x plus 4 at this side, and we have 5 at this side. We have x plus 4 at this side of the equation, and we have 5 at this side. So we now add 2 raised to power 2 to both sides of the equation, which is this 2 raised to power 2 and this. When you add it, we make this side of the equation a perfect square. You consider these two values that are squared. So which is x squared and plus 2 squared. When you pick them, you put them into bracket and you square them. You have automatically made this equation a perfect square. This value, open bracket, x plus 2 close bracket all square, is the same as x squared plus 4x plus 2 square. Because if you clear this bracket, as we have shown in the first example, you will have x squared plus 4x plus 2 square. Then we have to solve this side of the equation. When you solve it, you have 9, which is 5 plus 4. 5 plus 4 is equal to 9. At this point, we take the square root of both sides. If we take the square root of both sides, we have x plus 2 is equal to plus or minus square root of 9. We have to make x the subject here. For us to do that, at this side of the equation, we are having plus 2. When you subtract 2 from here, we'll be left with x, because we will have 2 minus 2 will give us 0. So we are left with x is equal to, when you subtract 2 from here, you will have minus 2 plus or minus square root of 9. And the square root of 9 is 3. You now have x is equal to minus 2 plus or minus 3. So it means that the value of x is either minus 2 plus 3 or minus 2 minus 3, because our x is equal to minus 2 plus or minus 3. So it's either our value is equal to minus 2 plus 3 or minus 2 minus 3. And if x is equal to minus 2 plus 3, we have 1, because minus 2 plus 3 is equal to 1. Or if x is equal to minus 2 minus 3, we have minus 5. Therefore, the value of x is equal to 1 or minus 5. So let's check if our values are correct. From the second example, let's check when x is equal to 1. The equation is 2x squared plus 8x minus 10 is equal to 0. And when x is equal to 1, it means that we substitute 1 in place of x. Anywhere we see x, we put the value 1. We have 2 times 1 into bracket all square plus x is here, which is 8x. We now have 8 times 1. Then 1 square is still 1. Then 2 times 1 is 2. 8 times 1 is 8 minus 10. If you solve this, which is 2 plus 8, 10. 10 minus 10 gives 0. It means that the value x is equal to 1 satisfies the equation, which means our value x is equal to 1 is correct. Let's check the next value, which is x is equal to minus 5. And the equation is 2x squared plus 8x minus 10 is equal to 0. If we substitute x is equal to minus 5 into the equation, we have 2 times minus 5 squared plus 8 times minus 5 minus 10. It's expected that if we solve this, we should have 0. If we have 0, it means that our answer satisfies the equation, which is correct. Now minus 5 squared will give us, that's minus 5 squared will give us 25. 25 times 2 will give 50. 8 times minus 5 will give minus 40, which is, we have minus 10 here, minus 10. So from this, we have 50 minus 40 minus 10. When you subtract 40 from 50, you have 10. And 10 minus 10 will give us 0. It means that the value of x equal to minus 5 satisfies the equation, which means our value is correct. Thank you. Support us with like, share, and subscribe for more math lessons. If you have any questions or topics you would like us to cover in future lessons, drop a comment below. We love hearing from you. Thank you.